Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm using some scraps I had left over from doing a card that I made for the ScrapbookPal YouTube channel. For it, I'm using the Spellbinders Blooming Butterflies 3D embossing folder. It cuts and it embosses. And the first card I made for this was for the ScrapbookPal channel. So if you want to check out that card, go head over there. And then these are just the leftover pieces that I had, and I thought I'd make a video for my own channel for that. So the first thing I'm doing is just putting on some Kitsch Flamingo ink onto that pink rose, and then I'm just brushing the edges so that it looks a little bit more, it pops off of the card. If those edges are left white, it kind of just doesn't look right, and so I decided to do that. And then I'm using some of that Kitsch Flamingo ink and adding a few pieces of watercolor onto there just to texturize those even further. Then I'm doing the same thing with the Twisted Citron and for the leaves, and then doing the same thing with the watercolor. And then for my butterfly, I decided to use the Lavender Distress Oxide ink. And I did that one the same way. Instead, I did start it from the middle, just so the middle of that butterfly would look the most purple, and then added more ink around the edges. And then once I was done, again, used a acrylic block to add some watercolor onto there just to make it look like it has some spots on it. The next thing I'm doing here is I've got some gold watercolor ink in my stash, and I'm just using the very tip of my paintbrush to add some gold onto those elements of the card. So I'm going to do it for the rose and the leaves and the butterfly. Make sure you don't add too much ink to your paintbrush, or else it's gonna just take over the entire thing there. Kind of made that mistake with one of the green leaves, but then I added some ink on top. Now I'm just, I used that diamond embossing folder to emboss the white piece of paper, and then I'm just stamping my greeting. So for the greeting, I'm using the Fawn Henry's Build a Sentiment, and I think it's the Valentine's set. And I just did sending hugs and kisses so that I can use this for a birthday card or Valentine's or really whatever I want. And then I decided to emboss that greeting in some gold. So just brushing that off, and then I'll show you the finished project there. And then now we're going to start putting the card itself together. For that, I'm just pressing down that edge so that there's no edge on the card base. And then I'm going to take my center piece, which is the embossed piece, and add some pink borders to that. So this is just some scrap paper I had. I decided to split it in half and add them on as borders. So it ties in with the flower on the card. And then this is the best way I find to do this, just to see how much border I want and then push it down. I find if I use liquid glue, it kind of gets everywhere, and so doing it this way is just the cleanest for me. And then you can actually compare it to the other side and see, okay, well, I have that much border there, so that's what I need on this side, and do the exact same thing. And when you're ready, just push it down. It's very clean, it's not sticky. Okay, so now I am putting that main page down onto my card base, and for that I'm using liquid glue. When you have an embossing folder, you want to make sure the glue kind of gets everywhere, and so that's why I use the liquid glue there. And then I can easily kind of line it up with my card base as well. Like if I make a mistake, I can kind of just wiggle it around until it looks perfect. So the next thing I'm going to do, oh yeah, there was a little border there, and so I wanted to cut that off. All right, so I think that is set. Now the next thing I'm going to do is just add all of the elements onto the card. So I'm starting with the rose, and I put some dimensionals right in the middle, or foam squares, and then I lined it up with the leaf to see exactly where I wanted to place that rose. And then I added the leaves with just some liquid glue on either end. So it's going to be kind of like a corner piece for the card, and then the butterflies kind of going to be hovering over top of that flower. So I put them kind of on the wings and then left the middle part empty so that I could push it in and make it look like the butterfly was flying off the paper. So now I've just added some tape runner onto the card there, and I'm just going to glue some twine right onto there. I kind of just did some circles with it and threw it on, and then put some foam squares on either end of my greeting, and I'm just going to put that right on top. I had it without the twine at first, but I didn't like the way it looked, so I decided to add some twine just to give the card some extra element. And then last but not least, I got these beautiful embellishments from Craft Consortium, and they're gold. Gold's probably my most used, so I'm really glad they sent that to me. And I'm just going to throw some of those all over the card. There's a varying degree of sizes too, so I was able to add some little ones, some big ones, and it made the card look just perfect. I was a little bit, I wanted to put one kind of over by the flower, and so I moved that one down. So that's my finished card for you today, guys. I hope you've enjoyed that. If you have, go check out the one I made for the Scrapbook Pal channel, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.